I grew up around all the originals, first of all, they all raised me. Original OGs, original ones that started all this. And see, as a child, growing up in that lifestyle, me and Larry, we come up together as kids, so we seen all the best of them, all of them coming up in our life.
So hear what I say, for it is the truth you see. There can only be one, the original.
OG, two letters that define respect. Welcome to the original OGs. I created the original OGs to document the forgotten parts of American history. I want to recognize and give a voice to the men and women that have climbed to the top of their game. Believe me, the men and women that sit in front of this marquee have been authenticated as original OGs. My name is Mr. Rick. Welcome to my world, a world of the originals, the unique. Welcome to the original OGs. And welcome to the original OG. I'm your host, OG Mr. Rick. Here is where we have real conversations with OGs, one OG to another. Welcome, and today I will bring forward to you some very interesting guests, the sons of some very prominent and interesting gentlemen, the son of Larry Hoover and David Boxdale.
My name is Larry Hoover Bernard. I'm the oldest son of Larry Hoover.
My name is Kelly. I'm the oldest son of King David Boxdale.
What was it like growing up in the shadow of these two powerful men?
Well, with my life, growing up, standing in the shadow of my father, I grew up around all the originals, first of all, they all raised me. Original OGs, original ones that started all this. And see, as a child, growing up in that lifestyle, me and Larry, we come up together as kids. I'm talking from 9 years old. We done everything together. So we seen all the best of them, all of them coming up in our life. I've been around his father. We've been around all Shorty and all these guys, all the original guys that we know Uncle Shot and them. So we was always there. And the change came about, in time, but things that we went through that we get farther into, but that's the way I was raised around those that have actually started all these things, that created the things that we consider, the world consider, was wrong, but we know the right.
I want to keep that thought about, you said when the change took place, but we want to go to Larry first,
Yes,
and then come back to that. So what was that experience like for you, brother?
Well, when I was coming up, as he said, we grew up around all the originals, And as a child, I didn't know who my father was. I'm saying,
That's
I didn't
what I'm
know he
talking about.
was who he, what I'm saying, I just know I was being treated special around the neighborhood, and everybody called me Little Larry and everything. And I never just really just grasped like he was the man. You know what I'm saying?
I get
I was raised in the prisons. We been going to see him all my life. I ain't never had no stepfathers or none of that stuff. My father was in prison, but
You had 100 other stepfathers, but
Huh?
you had 100 other stepfathers,
Right.
but they weren't with your mother.
right, exactly,
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? And I had a good life though. You know what I'm saying? Went to the best schools, everything. I chose the street. You know what I'm saying? I chose the street. I ain't had to be doing none of the stuff I was doing. But all in all, like I said, I had a good life. Good parents, good mother. I come from both sides of my family, good people. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
So now we come to that bridge, whereas both of you gentlemen, your lives have been, on your parents' side, sacrificial. You not growing up with your father at all, you growing up with your father in a position to whereas you can't really share life with your father, and that brings me to a point now. See, when you're born into this thing, it's a whole nother different game. I understand that. This ain't, I'm one of the guys. I'm born into this raw blood. I go to prison. Me and this guy, you know, his whole family, we're like this. And we're living on the west side of Chicago. I go to prison. He finds out I'm in the prison. He calls for me. I come out on the yard to see him, you know, it's my buddy. I look like a goddamn Tarzan movie out here. There's people everywhere around this guy. And I'm like, dude, what's going on here? Oh, I never did tell you, you know, I was born into this thing, you know, and because of my bloodline, I have a certain respect and a certain power. I'm saying, I'm trying to illustrate the power they had, so I can only imagine the power that you were born into. Am I communicating?
Yeah.
You know, now how you use the power, that's on the individual, and we're gonna go from there.
Okay.
You know, so what was it like for you, Larry, having to live a life with your father through the institution?
Like my grandmother, she took me. I cannot remember not going to see my father. I'm talking about every single weekend. I'm talking
I
about
get
from a
it.
kid on up till I was old enough to go myself. I mean, we missed a weekend. I can't remember it.
Right.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was always, you know, there. You know what I'm saying? I knew everybody in the prison, the wardens, the lieutenants. I knew everybody, all the inmates. You know, and you know, he was always there educating me and everything, keep me on the straight and narrow, you know what I'm saying, you know, even though I still sway, you know what I'm saying, doing my own thing, you know what I'm saying. Now, when you said born into the power, you know, born into power, me myself, like I said, there was no big eyes, little U's with me, you know what I'm saying? You know, I never tried to be more than the other guy, you know what I'm saying? I had to respect all day long, you know what I'm saying? You know?
Exactly.
I mean, but I didn't never try to, you know, pimp my authority, put it that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why all my people, they love me. My whole neighborhood, everybody loved me. I'm able to go anywhere I want to in the city of Chicago because I never tried to come off like I was,
Right.
I'm that man's son, this, that, and the other, woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying?
And
But brothers know what it is.
to interject something, you also knew that every week you had to go see the old man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I've had to go see him several times on, so, you know,
Okay.
messed up thing. You
Hey
know what I'm
man,
saying? Right,
ain't
you
what
know
we do. You
right,
know?
right.
And that's interesting. Now you have, Dave, you have pretty much the other end of the story.
Yeah.
Your father's gone. You don't have that person to turn to in or out of prison. So how do you face the world?
Well, the way I faced the world coming up, I had all them there and his dad there. Even I had to go see his father too. Yeah.
Okey dokey.
Constantly. And then I had all the his organizations there that raised me. The streets raised me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The streets raised me as a child. The streets taught me the things I learned in life as a child from the streets.
Right.
But the decisions I made was my choice, not theirs. And they was trying to teach me different. They showed both of us different because, like I said, we was together since 9 years old. How we met is a whole nother story. You'd be surprised to hear. Because who would say both king's sons together? He was 9, I was 10. And what happened was, you know, he was riding, he got a brand new bike. Don't know him from a can of paint. Never seen him before in my life. So I'm 10 years old, seeing him on that brand new bike, I hit him upside his head and he took his bike. And how that come about, we met a couple of years later. I come out of St. Charles, you know, because I was in and out of jail as a child because I was raised by the streets. And then when we met at my grandmother's house, we became best friends. You know, we was best friends all our years. We done did everything together, street life together, you know, hustle together, did things in this world together at that particular time. And so in the process of that, we sitting down getting so much money together. We looked at each, I looked over there, we was about 17 now. And I said, you know what? I can't hold this in no longer. remember back when you was 9 years old and somebody hit you upside your head, took your bike? I said, that was me.
How'd you feel about that? Because I ain't 9 years old no more.
Pissed off. I still pissed off. You know what I'm saying?
He was still mad about that.
I get it.
So I had a whole bunch of money. Take it because this is down, not gonna buy you no.
He gonna throw a bunch of money and be talking about some here.
Interesting conversation, interesting point you just made, because when we talk about power, now you just gave a very good illustration here. Here are people trying to give you whatever is connected to the streets. You see what I'm saying? So now you take these things, and like you said, you make a lot of money. How do you find your space in the world when all of this is coming at you and you're taking advantage of some of it?
That's true. And it was hard to find the space of our own. We created our own space. What we did was, as a kid, like I said, is it okay to speak to these things? We did as a kid, we changed our neighborhoods. We had people, come around, a guy go around stabbing little kids, and we caught him. We jumped out and called him out. We 13, we 14, about 14, 15 years old. We called him, and then one of us reaching like, man, they'll get it. So I'm not running no more. We're just gonna go and get. So I whooped the guy.
Right.
Whooped him bad. And so that the whole neighborhood was happy again that we saved the neighborhood from running around hurting the kids and stabbing them. And so at that time, I taught the whole neighborhood how to martial art and made them go to school.
Right.
I was good with martial art and boxing as a kid.
Right.
And I took that trade definitely after my father. And at that time, the Arabs, there was no saying like they is today in our neighborhood. We was going there, they're gonna be in our neighborhood, in our community. Y'all wanted to pay us, and we was just shorted.
Right.
So what happened was our best friend was named Bird. His mother, so they got tired of us coming to making them pay to be in our community. They hired his mom in the store. We walked in the store to pick up our next thing, and there she was. What y'all doing there? So, that was part of our journey.
Right.
From that life of being in that way to what we are today, though.
Right.
Which I know we'll talk about that.
Oh, without a doubt, we finna talk about that.
Yes, sir.
In fact, that was my next point. So, in your life today, give us a picture of where you are now, what it is you're doing, what it is that you intend to do, you aspire to do, with where you are right now.
Okay, now today in my life, most of my life I was in and out of prison. When the world expected me to fail, I refused to fail, even with the power of people around me. But I did not take advantage of that power. I found we made our own way. And so in the course of that time, I educated myself. I said, you know what? Something got to give, because I seen the things that going on in our community that got so out of hand. It wasn't like that when I was coming. We fought. We didn't just pick up a gun. We fought.
Right.
And so today with the things that's going on, I said I had to change this. So I educated myself.
Right.
I went and got 22 degrees. I got 5 master's degrees and 3 bachelor degrees, and also a chemical expert.
Wow.
And now I'm running $1 billion company, overseeing $1 billion company. So today in my life, I go to the jails when I wasn't able to go walk in the jail to save kids' life and other people. I speak to 300 to 400 people twice a week into the jails. When the judge said, they look at me now not as a criminal, they look at me as a living legend, someone that can help make change. So I go into jails now to show them a better way, teach them how to fill out resumes, show them how to do job programs, show them how to build a business, and show them how to rebuild their community.
Exactly.
So this is what I do today besides my other jobs. So I make sure when they come out, I get them money fat off of house arrest, get them money fat off of work release centers. I go to court for them and get them out of jail and show them something different. And so what I have done besides that, now I have go through the communities to talk to the communities, talk to the kids, to show them not to make the same mistakes I made.
Exactly.
And this is my life I live today. So I also became an ordained minister where I'm able to be an advocate for the streets, for the people, about the people, and with the people to make change for the people.
This show has the intent to define what a real OG is, what an original OG is. My partner and I have developed a method to ensure that if someone should sit in front of this OG logo, that they have been authenticated and found to be true in their history as far as what an OG is?
So I've learned from my father's history, my family, it's his father's history, and others' history, from the things that we went through, and take it back to what they was doing when they was helping the people. They wasn't hurting the people. It's the people that came afterwards that has destroyed our community and our world as a people. It wasn't them. And so what I want to do is bring back when they was feeding the kids, helping the community, helping with health care and things of that nature. So I'm right now working on getting a youth center and turning it into a building where I can turn it into a youth center and get these kids arts and trade. If you take the streets from them, you got to substitute the street with something else, like give them other opportunity. You take something from them, give them something else with it. So you find out what their passion is in life. When you find out what their passion is, then you explore that passion and bring the best of them out of them to show them a better way how to live that life to do. And that's how you fix the problem. So I put together a march that was so big that brought every organization together. So what I have done, I designed every organization. They call them organizations. I call them the street walks of life.
Right.
I call these things, they call organization the walks of life. Cause look at the walk of life. In this life that they live, we can stop this killing in our community today. We can change the expectation of no sin, all the innocent babies dying. When a baby died, mama crying. It's called unity within the community. And this is what I'm looking for to do. And this is what I do every day to day of my life, you know?
That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, brother.
And keep us posted on how you're doing with the potential youth center.
I'm working on that process right now as we speak.
Well, keep me posted.
Yes, sir.
Without a doubt. And let's share your experience, Larry, with your desires and outlooks and the moves you're making today for yourself in your own personal life.
Well, right now, I live in Jackson, Mississippi. I've been down there 13 years.
Beautiful.
I left here in 2010. Well, I've been down almost 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I left here with absolutely nothing, $275.
Wow.
No joke. And got down there, got immediately into survival mode down there. And worked a steel mill down there for 4.5 years. I was selling sandwiches there, Italian beefs. They work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started, start selling more food before I go to work. Then I was selling, I would get paid more before I go to work than I was getting paid at work.
Okay.
And I ended up blowing up and opened up my own restaurant down there inside the mall, like Ford City or Evergreen Plaza or something, inside the food court.
Right.
And I was there for 8 years, going on 9 years, with the restaurant going strong.
Until the pandemic.
I survived the pandemic.
Wow.
I did. It was rough, but I survived it. No loans, no grants, no nothing.
And
you know what I'm saying?
Why did you shut down? Why did you close?
Because of the murder rate. The murder rate is high in Chicago. They bought property down and people stopped coming to the mall closed down and stuff. So right now I'm on the verge of moving back here for a minute. And but I'm on my way to Nashville to open up another spot, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's interesting.
That's what I'm doing right
now.
now.
Your other brother is doing a worldwide campaign to bring some light to the situation of your father.
The corruption and how the system is treating my father. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he's eligible. The law states that he's to be released.
Right.
They have released everybody on the same case with him, except for him and a few other guys. You know what I'm saying? And it's wrong. It's wrong. And up under the Second Chance Act, he's eligible for this release. He's a model inmate.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying?
What else can he be?
Right. They monitor everything he do, everything he say.
Right.
They know he's not in no trouble. You know what I'm saying? No, they just won't,
Well, some say he's a political hostage.
Political prisoner, yeah.
Political prisoner. I said political hostage. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So, I've done a lot of research on your father. I've done a lot of research on your father as well. Because your father is still alive, in my research, I can see his development, his growth as a man. You know, I'm looking at one guy, he catches a case, goes to jail. 50 years later, this is a whole nother human being, man. You know, and highly intelligent.
Oh yeah.
Highly
Definitely.
intelligent.
Yes.
You know, and perhaps that has something to do with we can't let this brother out. You know, in my mind, and I'm gonna move on to the next subject, but in my mind, it'd be like Jesus walking down the street. It'd be totally insane, man.
But we was talking, and I said, this is just recently too. We was down in Colorado, and I was like, you know, these guys out here think you Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to tell you.
Right. And he said that's the reason why I'm still in here, because they think I'm Jesus Christ.
I just told you.
Exactly what he said.
I'm telling you,
That's
if you
exactly
do
what he
the
said.
math on it, you know, they created a monster.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they created
They
a
did.
monster.
Yeah.
You know, so they're afraid to let that monster out. You know, and I understand that, but we're going to keep moving. You know, and we're in a different direction with you, David, because again, the loss of your father making the sacrifice for the people. You know, I like to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? These brothers was making sacrifices for the people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all this, so we're a gang. No, we ain't no goddamn gang, it's an organization.
Exactly.
You know, so I try to keep it real. So what were your circumstances and what was it like being around all these original guys, you know, trying to look out for your best interest?
You know, they was teaching me not to make these same mistakes they made. And it was trying to guide me to be better than what they was at that moment in time. And I looked at back from the 60s when it was when blacks were struggling. They had, and this when these things came about, they came to fight for their community and for poverty and things to that nature in life. And that's what brought about what they consider as organization, which I consider walks of life. And that's how those things came about, because they was fighting for their community at that time. And so I see those things, and I seen that vision of his father's vision, my father's vision, Jeff's vision, others' vision, and I take that what they did then and utilize it today in my life to make a difference within our community, to see why we can't save these babies and it's killing of our kids.
Exactly.
So I want to reconstruct what they did and live, their vision gonna live on through me.
Exactly.
And see, I got to be that shining light that they was. And if I shine that light through that darkness of this world today, the world will listen. I could reach people across the world and people will listen because they're with the path that I'm going in
Exactly.
the right direction. So through my voice and my words, not just my words, but my actions as well.
Exactly.
I'm living with everything that I'm saying. If I tell you that I'm saying something, I'm actually living it.
Exactly.
And see, by me showing by example, they see that I've been down that same road they've been in. I've been in poverty. I've been in prison. I've been down those same struggles they've been in, even in the midst of me being in what they consider as royalty. Even at that point, I didn't want that royalty lifestyle, but I wanted to show them I'm just like them, and I'm the same way and came from the same things they come from. So I'm gonna show them how to do it without all those extra things. So I pushed all that negativity away and started living in a positive direction to show them I walked in your shoes.
Right.
I lived your life. I've been that same person you are. If I could do it, you can do it too.
Exactly.
I've been in prison like you have. So I want them to see that side of my father and his father, showing that this is their vision. This is their growth and development. This is that light that they was missing. You know what I'm saying? Not being misled by those that's out there misleading them down the wrong way, a path of destruction.
Exactly.
We have to change that pattern of destruction. They let them down. So we could fix this as a people and as a whole through our voice and through our actions.
So if you could put together a short conversation for the young brothers and sisters out there, in your observation, what would you like to say to them?
Me, for those young brothers and sisters out there, first thing I tell them, I ask them, find out what is their passion. What do they desire in life? I mean, you might want to be a pianist, might want to be a lawyer, a doctor. And I would tell them, go for those things. Don't let pride stand in the way of your friend because you were trying to impress a brother that's standing next to you or a sister over there that you want. And that word pride, is poor, reckless, individual errors.
Right.
That's what it means to me. And then they walk in fear due to the actions of others. They fear that, man, someone gonna look at them indifferent. And the problem with fear is false accusation appearing real. When they understand the concept of those things, that's when change come about. And I want to direct that change to them and show them through my life. I wasn't afraid to step out there. Even though I'm the king's son, I wasn't afraid to, do different. And when I
Right.
did different, others started doing different. Because, man, if he can do it, you can too.
But what did you do different than what the king intended to do? Looks to me like you did exactly what he intended.
That's exactly right.
you understand what I'm
Exactly
saying? Right.
Exactly.
And for you, Larry, what would you say to the young people out there that's trying to engage in your experience, in this world? How would you communicate instructionally?
Well, right now, I would tell the youth, what I'm saying, of course, put down them guns, but
Please.
that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
And right now they going through a phase, like we went through phases. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't always hunky-dory for me and him.
No, I get
Oh,
it.
we was in them streets.
No, I get it.
I'm
I
talking
get
about
it.
down dirty,
Yeah.
banging. I mean, seriously banging.
I get it.
The whole 9 yards. And everything, it just was a phase you going through. Right now, we grow up, we see what you call the opposition or whatever. We see it right now. We just had a little thing in the neighborhood a couple weeks ago. As a matter of fact, my birthday. Everybody came. El Rukers, the El Rukers, Vice Lords, everybody.
So-called opposition.
Our so-called opposition that we was literally into it with back in the days. I mean, in each other's throat.
Right.
And, and it's just a phase that we went through. You know what I'm saying? Phase. Now they going through a phase, but they going to a point of no return. You know what I'm saying? I mean, only way that I can see them getting away from it is getting all the way away from it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and then the parents got to be more involved with their kids too.
Well, that's a whole nother ball of wax there.
Okay, yeah, true that. Yeah, true. You know what I'm saying? But far as the youth go, I mean, they just gotta, there's no, how would you say it? All this about they don't even know what it's about, really. You know what I'm saying?
And see,
they retaliated for this, don't even know what the original people was.
Here's why I ask those questions and where I want to go with it. You got to first understand, and I'm talking specifically to young people, and I'm not talking down to you. I'm talking to you, and I hope you can hear me. You got to first know the terrain in which you're navigating.
Mm-hmm.
See, this shit has been booby-trapped since your ass got here 400 years ago. Your next door neighbor is your enemy. There's something wrong with that psychology. If the brother down the street or the sister down the street is your enemy, something wrong with that. You got real enemies. You need to know that. So before we go, you have something that we need to announce.
Yes. I want to announce the book of my father that's coming out November. It's with him and Mayor Daley, Richard Daley. And I wanted to put that out there so the world will see. This book will be produced and out in November and be published in November. And I want the world to be able to know that when you go get this book. This book gonna tell the story, will have a beginning of all those things they've been through and their struggles and they went the way they lived, the way my father lived and others. And they got all the originals in this book. The ones that started this thing, that created this thing, their story in there. You found out their story, their life, their journey, and everyone's journey that started this whole thing and see where they came from, what they've been through, and where they're going, And I'm here to say this because when this book come out, it's gonna be a book signing in November. It's also gonna be on Amazon. But I'm gonna keep fighting this fight, keep swinging for his father and my father. And I'm gonna keep living and bringing change in our community for our kids to stop the killing in our neighborhoods so the parents can come outside again. The kids can go play again. The kids can live a normal life without all this mess that's going on in our world. No matter what it takes, I want to stand forward, to stand out, and stand firm. And I want to leave with that, my brother.
My man, and I thank you, gentlemen, and I hope this is not the last time that we can do this. We want to keep evolving in our journey so that we can communicate to the world, you know, how we think and how we are aware of our situation and the things that we take responsibility of in trying to make them better.
I would love to see him come home, you know, be with the family, you know what I'm saying, you know, for the little couple of years he got left on this earth. You know
I
what I'm
get
saying?
it.
Hey,
I get it.
you know, and, you know, I wish he could have made it before my grandmother passed, you know, that's all she's waiting on. And, you know, be there for his great grandkids. He got great grandkids now, you know what I'm saying? That's
Exactly.
all. I just want him to come home and just, you know, live a peaceful life. That's all.
I get it.
That's
and I think that he deserves to do that. And I think whatever it is that we all can do to participate in seeing that happen, I think we owe that. And we're going to have a voice. And I want you to know you're always welcome to come back,
That's it. Thank you.
my man. That's it. That's all. We have created this show so that men and women alike can come forward and tell their truth. If you have people that you believe to be an OG, go into the comment section, write us, let us know where to find the history so that we can authenticate it, bring them on the show, tell their story so that we can add to the American history. That's it. That's all.
The original OG.
The original OG.